I've spent hundreds of hours watching every video on YouTube about speed picking, and I came to one conclusion: speed picking is hard. And it's frustrating to be stuck while everyone is telling you to do something different. So I went on a mission to find out what is the most valuable lesson for fast and controlled speed picking. Because there is a right way. A way I've discovered over the last 6 years that has helped me play basically every song, solo or lick without extreme effort and wasting time. No shortcut, no fancy new technique, but a formula that improves my picking basically every time I grab the guitar, and it's designed for everyone. Hey guitar champion, what's going on? I'm 𝗚𝗚𝙦𝗚𝗏 and I teach shred guitar on this channel with a scientific and biomechanical background, and here we go. With the knowledge from all these picking videos, I've built a 5-step system summarizing the common practices of extremely talented guitarists and teachers. Now, unlike typical frameworks, these 5 steps multiply each other's effects, so it is extremely important that you go through all these steps with me. Otherwise, the whole system would collapse and you go back being frustrated. But there's one step before all of this. Step 0 before hero, if you like. One thing every guitar educator, YouTuber, teacher and artist agrees on 100% is this: you have to practice. If you don't practice these methods and give them time to develop, they won't work. And if you need inspiration for what to practice, I've prepared a couple of the best and most essential alternate picking licks for every step in the following system. Just click the link in the description box to download the tabs, and now let's move on to step number 1. Step number 1, isolated practice. Nearly every guitar teacher recommends practicing your left hand in isolation, but barely anyone tells you to do the same thing with your right hand, which makes sense because it is extremely abstract. When I mute the strings with my left hand and try to play a lick or a pattern using only my right hand, I don't have any musical information. I only have the movement itself as my main source of information. And that is exactly why this is so important. You see, we have an entire feedback loop system in our body. We touch the string, the information travels to the brain, we pluck the string, receive auditory feedback and know that note was correct. Now, when the right hand is extremely dependent from the left hand, this feedback loop becomes twice as long. First, the information has to travel from the left hand to the brain, then to the right hand and back to the brain again. And this is where many of the most common hand synchronization issues occur. And now I've learned that isolating your right hand in your practice routine is extremely important. I've took some of the most famous picking licks, but take a little bit away the pressure from the left hand so that we can truly focus on the right hand. If you are interested in the full licks with more going on in your left hand, then check the link in the description box. There you can download them for free. Alright, and here we go with lick number 1. So lick number 1 is a pretty basic 6 notes per string pattern where we start with a downstroke, we end with an upstroke and then go to the next string. This lick is inspired by runs like those kind of famous 3 note per string patterns. And take a little bit away the pressure and the focus of the left hand. I only play a power chord, an A power chord here, to really focus on the transition between the D and the G string here in this case. And here downward pick standing is the way to go, but you can also start with an upstroke. Then it is the opposite upward pick slant that we need on the last note of the string. Again, a really great beginner lick to get your right hand started. I highly recommend to practice this up to 10 notes per second, maybe 11 notes per second, which are around 100 and 110 BPM 60-note triplets. This is why it is so important to practice your right hand individually. And every guitarist who preaches this usually has extremely good hand synchronization and picking control. If you are interested in learning more about the science behind picking, I highly recommend getting my free ebook, The Biomechanics of Speedpicking. Just click the link in the description box and download it for 100% free. Step number 2, pick slanting is king. Yes, you've probably heard this word 1,000 of times by now, but that's for a reason. Pick slanting is the key element for moving from one string to the next string, and it's actually extremely simple. Even though I heavily criticize current work, we have to be eternally grateful for Troy Grady for discovering this concept. Over the last 8 years, I've spent countless of hours teaching and talking about this method, and I've seen so many confusing takes on it. Like the biggest straight guitar educator here on YouTube with millions of subscribers, mixing up the whole terminology and confusing the work of smaller educators from the last 10 years. But it's much simpler than you might think. The final pick stroke determines the additional movement we need so that the pick does not get stuck between the strings. In addition to our regular picking movement, we add a forearm rotation. The type of rotation depends on the picking direction of that final note. Some people call it upward and downward pick slant, others call it downstroke escape or upstroke escape, but basically it all means the same thing. I make it even easier for you. When the final note on a string is a downstroke, you rotate in the direction that moves your pinky away from the body of the guitar. When the final note on the string is an upstroke, you rotate in the direction that moves your pinky towards the body of the guitar. But what barely anyone talks about is the amount of rotation, because different situation requires different degrees of rotation. I highly recommend to watch my video about this concept after you finish this one, and please, 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 please don't say you are a natural downward pick slant or something like that, or that you can only play downward pick slanting. I used to believe that as well until I realized that it was not something that is natural, but basically it's just a bad habit. We should be able to control both rotations, otherwise we lose a lot of freedom and have to depend on more difficult techniques such as swipe picking, economy picking, or swiping through the strings. That is why the ZEN of Speedpicking, my comprehensive online picking course, is designed to perfect both slants directions and develop absolute picking control. As always, check the link in the description box for more information. And now lick number 2 is inspired by the famous Paul Gilbert lick, which with the left hand included basically goes like this. Now, but again, to get a little bit the focus away from the left hand, we want to do it like this. And of course, if you like, you can also include string skipping to it. And basically what we have here is we first start with 3 notes on the D string, and then 1 note on the G string, where we instantly go back to the D string, playing 2 notes, and then we're repeating it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we need two-way pick slanting and something that I call the snap movement, because as soon as we pick the G string, we have to go from upward pick slant, which we end on with the first notes because we're ending with a downstroke. And from that upward pick slant, we have to go immediately to downward pick slant together with that stroke. So it's not a stroke, pick slant, and then going to the next string. It is together with the stroke, the pick slant. Of course, you can do this as well reverse, starting with the higher note. And enforcing an inside picking, while with the other one, with the other version, we have outside picking. Outside picking. Inside picking. Step 3. Never change your technique. And here I have to apologize a little. A couple of years ago I released the Ultimate Guide for Speedpicking, which is still, alongside the work of Anton Oparin, Matt Wright and Bradley Hall, one of the best and most informative picking videos out there. But in that video I said one thing that I absolutely regret today. That I changed my picking technique depending on the tempo. Stopping this was a game changer for my control and hand synchronization. Before that I had what I call the valley of uncontrollability. I could play a lick slowly and I could play it fast, but at a medium tempo I had a lot of issues. The main reason was that my picking technique changed. What changed in my case? Well, my stump started to bend whenever I played fast. And that leads us to the main theory of why biomechanical picking approach, avoiding unnecessary consumption of energy. According to Nikolai Bernstein's degrees of freedom theory, we lose precision in our movements the more muscle we activate, especially when those muscles are unnecessarily activated before we even play a single note. This can happen through bending the wrist, starting to pick from the elbow, flexing or extending our fingers too much, and many other things. And especially when the movement changes because the technique changes, it becomes extremely difficult for our brain to calculate everything correctly. The brain has to anticipate one movement at a slow tempo and a different movement at a fast tempo, and because of that, we cannot maintain the same level of control and hand synchronization. Like, for example, take a closer look to these two clips from my student Yannick, who made some severe progress by just changing and tweaking a little bit his posture, the way how he hold the pick, the way how he executed the picking in his left hand, and boom, he made some incredible progress in all of his shredding. And the excellent thing is, come here. Everybody can make this kind of progress. So try to use the same technique regardless of the tempo, and try that out with the following lick and exercise. Lick number 3 is also super easy. We have 3 notes on both strings. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically coming from every typical 3-note per string run like. And here again we have two-way pick slanting because we're ending on the D string with a downstroke and on the G string with an upstroke. But here the difference is that we're not going straight back to the previous string, we are staying on the G string, and with that the amount of rotation of the pick slant changes a little bit. And of course you can do this as well reverse, starting on the higher string with a downstroke. Like for example when you would play it like this. Step 4. Play fast. I'm genuinely happy to hear this is so often in picking videos because it is extremely important to teach your body how to move fast. This is a crucial experience that our body has to understand. I sometimes even mime sections that are currently too fast for me just to develop a feeling for how playing them at full speed should eventually feel. The balance here is the key. I always say when you want to change really bad habits such as picking from your elbow, moving your thumb too much, practice slowly. This is a process where we have to take our time at every tempo. Start slowly and increase the tempo only every week or so. I created an entire concept around this called the reset button, which you can find in the ZEN of Speedpicking. It will help you finally develop a good picking technique from the get-go. But when you already have a proper technique and you only need the final percentage of speed, play fast. Play fast with control and precision, but play fast. Don't play the entire lick, play short chunks of it. Increase the length of the lick, not the speed. I call this the Running Man method. And you can find it in my beginner shred course, The Gateway to Shred, a 4-week transformational course for beginner shredders. Woo! That's going to burn in my forearm, but nice. And you can also find it, of course, in my full shred course, the ZEN of Speedpicking. And you can try out the Running Man method with today's 4th lick. Here we go. Alright, lick number 4, 2-string pattern. Like we would play a pentatonic. Now here we have to lock in with the pick slant because we have less than 4 notes on a string. And now we are coming to the final step of this video. Step 5, just one simple word. awareness. This is the key that brings all the methods together and help us develop the most important and useful skill. I once interviewed legendary virtuoso Jordan Rudess here on this channel, and he told me the following.
Where is your mind at? Where is your breathing at? Where is your body at? I suggest to practice that. Practice, remember how you feel when you play it. Like if I'm going...
Movement starts here in our brain. You have to be able to imagine a movement, anticipate it and feel it. Not just do it, know it. For years, my legs had a starting point and an ending, but I had no control over what was happening in between. Many players have this issue and don't take it seriously enough, but those who do are the true virtuosos. Professor Shred here really quickly. I just wanted to confirm that this is no voodoo, mumbo jumbo or black magic. Actually, so many neuroscience theories are based on this. We have a whole internal model system that describes this. We have sensory feedback, auditory feedback, visual feedback, our proprioceptions in our fingers, how it's connected to the brain. So basically you can dump all of that down, that yes, the better we can visualize and anticipate and imagine a movement, the better we can be at that movement. That is actually helping me a lot in the last couple of years to really know what I'm doing. The more we know what we are doing, the better we are. Actually, there's a pretty cool exercise from Steve Vai about this, where he was talking about imagine a movement before you're going to sleep, when you're on your bed and you have to prepare a song or you're learning a solo or something like that. Close your eyes and imagine that solo and the movement, the exact frets that you're pushing, the exact picking motion. Imagine all of that before going to bed. You will see on the next day that it can help, definitely. But the best results we can get when we are on our instrument, we can fully focus and get our awareness to our movement. How can we create this awareness? Actually, quite easy. Analyze yourself by filming and recording your playing. Our perception is extremely limited while we are playing, and we can easily miss the things that is happening in our technique. Practice with different sounds. Practice with a clean sound to see whether your hand synchronization is off. Practice with distortion to see whether you are muting or not. Don't accept your flaws. Again, I had several flaws in my playing where other professionals told me, just leave it as it is. Nobody will care or notice anyway. No. I want control and precision. I work on that every single day and I become more and more aware of my playing. Achieving more precision, endurance and ultimately speed through practice is, to be honest, one of the best journeys ever. And truly, to test your picking ability, I have one final lick for you that combines all the other licks that we have learned so far and is really testing your picking control, your endurance, your speed, and all the skills that are necessary to become the next speed picking master. Alright, and now as I've already mentioned, the final lick is a lick where we combine everything of those. I call this in the ZEN of Speedpicking the stairs. You probably have heard this 1000 times. Basically was inspired by the following lick. And what we have here is something that is called a mirrored sequence. So basically it starts with having 3 notes on the D string, 1 note on the G string, and then 2 notes on the D string, 2 notes on the G string, 1 note on the D string, and 3 notes on the G string. So again, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 3. Here, as I mentioned, we combine everything. 3, 2, and that 1 note where we have the snap movement. And as a full lick together with the left hand, you can do something like... I recommend to get this lick up to probably 8 or 9 notes per second because it is quite complex for a right hand, because again, every other lick leads us to this lick. This lick is built on nearly all the shred patterns, so it is quite complex of course, and 8 and 9 notes per second is already super fast with this kind of lick. That is 80 or 90 BPM on 60 note triplets. Alright, and so much for today's little lesson. I hope you like this little lesson. If you want to have more shred education, subscribe to 𝗎𝙗𝗓𝗏. Watch this video if you want to have some really cool beginner speed picking licks. I'm going to see you in my next video. I wish you a lot of fun as always, learning, practicing and mastering the guitar. Cheers and power your progress. Bye.